Hello everyone, welcome to Programming Pool channel. In this video, I will talk about a very useful tool in programming world. It is GitHub and Git. It is very useful tool to collaborate with teammates, students or friends or whatever. And it is a free tool to use to a certain point, and it is very useful to learn, especially for the beginners. But before we dive into the concepts, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you will not miss any upcoming videos. So, what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud based service that helps developers to store and manage their code, also, track and control their changes. Change means their code change. Anyone can sign up and host public and private repositories that make it open source. So anyone can sign up a profile with them or an account, and you can create a public or private repositories and store their code there. To understand GitHub better, you need to know two principles: version control and Git. What is version control? Version control helps developers to manage and track the code changes in the projects as it grows. Version control can be done by branching and merging. With branching, developers can duplicate part of the source code and do their change safely and separately without affecting the rest of the project. Once the developer finishes the change and gets his code working properly, then he can merge the code to the main source code to make it part of the project officially. Now, let's create an account together and explore GitHub interface. Now, open github.com in your browser, and I will paste the URL in this video's description. Press on sign up. Now, it will ask you for your email, your password, and then username you will use, and it will ask you a couple questions. You can do it yourself, and I because I already have an account, so I don't want to create a new account. It is straightforward to do that, and I will see you inside the account. So once you created your account, you will come to the dashboard or to the home page. All right. In order to start working with GitHub, you need to create a repository that contains the project. All right. And you have two options: either press on this button here, create repository, or here in this panel, you see here you can put the name of the repository. Let's put it test. And the visibility is either public, anyone can see it and can access it. He can't modify it, but he can access it, or private, so you can choose who can commit and see the repository. All right. Now let's create it private, create a new repository. Now you are in the repository and you created your first repository. Okay. If you see here, it is the username that I created is Nabil Auda one, and the repository name is test, and it's private. In the code tab, we will see a branch and all the code files. Now it is empty. We don't have any file. I will show you how to do that later this video. The issues tab, and this one you will create an issues and assign it to a friend, assign it to you to work in this project. Pull request tab is when you create a branch, or you have a branch that you made some change and you want to merge it to a main branch, so you can do create a new pull request to merge it there, and I will show you an example later today. Actions project security is for like advanced, and it's most of them it is paid, so we are not going to talk about it, or even insights. Now in the setting tab, you can do some useful tasks. For example, you can change the name of the repository. All right. You can change the visibility from private uh, to the public, and you can do delete it. All right. You can delete it, you can archive it, and so on. And the most important thing, if you want to work with teammates, all right, and your repository is private, so you can come to collaborators, add people, and you type. If you type anything, it will show you some examples. So you have to know the username of the person you want to add to the project, and you can add it. Now, in order to work with GitHub, we need a tool called Git. All right. And let's go to install it so we can create files and clone this repository to our local and add some files, add some code, and then push it to this repository. Now we want to install Git tool, and you can come to the URL git-scm.com downloads, and I will paste the URL in this video's description. Choose your operating system. I will choose Windows. Now you will choose one of the uh, editions. So we have 32-bit, 64-bit, and I will go with 64-bit for Windows. It will be downloaded in 1 sec. In your downloads folder, you double click on Get File. Press, it will prompt you to add change to this device. Press yes. Now you press next, press next, 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 and next, next. Don't change anything, you just press next, next, next until it installed. Now when it's finished, when you finish installing, it will prompt you to come to this website. You can go over it, but I am not talking about it today. What is Git? Git is an open source version control system. So every developer should have it in his laptop. So it will make it easier to branch and merge. It is very similar to command prompt. So when we open it, it looks like a command prompt with different and a path and stuff. And I will show it to you in a couple minutes. You can run the command with command prompt or Windows shell, but you must install Git anyway. And Git is recommended to use because it shows you which branch are you working with, so it is safer. Sometimes you have to be very careful when you're working with a branch so you will not ruin others' branch and others' code. Now here is some Git commands in this table, examples with explanation what it will do. You can stop the video for a couple of minutes and read them carefully. I'm not going to go over them all because we will implement them in Git shell. For example, git clone repo URL to clone public repository, get status to check the status of your branch and your local repository, git pull to update your local repository to the newest commit. That means if you have some commit change in your remote repository and you wanna uh, clone them or pull them to your local, it will update by git pull and so. And here is more of the commands. You can again stop the video, read them carefully. Now let's go to the git shell and implement those commands. And I think I choose about 15 commands that are very useful. And if you know all these commands, you are good to work with Git and GitHub. Now, on your desktop, create a new folder called Learn Git. Open the folder. Right click on the mouse. Now you have show more options. If you have Windows 10, the option will be in this list here. Show more options. Now you have open Git bash here. Press on it. Now the bash is opened and the path is to learn Git. Now let's start implement some of the commands. So the first command you should always implement is to clone the uh, remote repository to your local. And we can do that by typing follow me, and it is case sensitive, so follow me as I'm typing git clone Now we need to paste the Git repository URL, and you can grab it from your repository, remote repository in your account. And here it is under the code tab. You can see the path here. Click on the icon. It is copied now. Come here to the shell and paste it. Press enter. Now it is cloned. If you come to the folder here, Git, and you can see the name is test as your remote repository name. All right. Now we are still outside the repository. So in order to get in is cd test, and now we are inside the repository. You can tell that by seeing the branch name is main. So always make sure that you have the right branch to work with. Sometimes it is different name than main, but by default, when you clone the repository, it will be always main and always the default. If the default repository in your project is not main, so it will be the default repository always, okay? You can get inside the repository by open the folder here and right click again, show more options and get back here, okay? But I did it the fastest way. Now let's check the status of the repository. Get status. Now on the branch main, no commit yet. So there is no change here. So we don't have any change, there is nothing to track. All right. Now let's create a file. I already have a file here in my desktop called app.js. You can create a file of JS or whatever you want to create. Copy it, Control C, and drop it, Control V to paste it inside the repository. Now let's get the status again. Get status. So you have now untracked files. We have one file called app.js is not tracked yet. So in order to make it tracked, you need to add it to a staging area. How we can do that? By typing get add dash a, or you can type get add dot. Press enter. Now there is nothing, no errors. Check the status again, get status. Now you see change to be committed, new file app.js. Now we have some data or some files that are in a staging area and they are ready to commit. All right. Now, in order to commit change or new change is type like get space commit space dash m, which is for message. Now, so now will be double quote. Type anything that explains what did you do. Like let's say add new file app.js. So if you come back again in the future, you can tell what did you do in this commit. Okay. Now close the quotes. Press enter. Now one file changed and we have committed our change. So if we get the status again, so it's a good idea to always get the status. Now your branch is based on origin main, but the upstream is gone. And this is because we don't have any branch still in our remote. So let's go ahead and push our change so it will automatically create a branch. Okay. Now, in order to push your change to remote repository, you can type get push. All right. Now we pushed all our change to the remote, and you can tell that we have a new branch main. All right. Now let's go to our remote repository and refresh. Here we go. Now we have a branch called main. We have the file that we committed called app.js. All right. In order here to create a branch in a remote, you can come here and type the name of the branch. It should be different and unique. You can't create main, and you can tell that main is default. You can put like, let's say, develop. Okay, now it will show you branch, create branch, develop for main. Okay, now create. You can see now we have two branches, our main and develop. You can press on main. Now we are in main, and develop, we are in develop. Now let's say you want to clone the repository and you want to see the URL to clone it. If you already have files there, all right, you just come to the code here to this drop down, and you can see the URL here. All right, now let's continue on our local. When you do anything or any change in your remote and you don't have them yet in your local, you can pull your remote change by typing git pull, press enter. You can see now new branch added develop, origin develop. Now we have pulled the new branch from our remote repository. So now if you want to clear your git batch console, you just type clear and it will clear your previous commands. All right. Now let's create a branch locally. All right. In order to do that is get branch and the new name or new branch. Let's put it uh, temp. Now, if we wanna get the list of the branches in our local, we can type get branch. So we have in local main and temp branch. By the way, we can know the remote branch by typing get branch dash r, and those are in remote, and we can get all branch either in remote and local by typing get branch dash a. Now main and temp are in local, and remotes are in red, and the green one because it's active one. Now if we want to create a branch and check out to that branch and switch to that branch, we can type get checkout dash b and then branch name. Let's put it temp underscore 2. Now you see we created a branch and we switched to that branch. All right. Now in order to delete a branch, all right, locally is get branch dash d, then branch name. Let's delete temp. Now deleted branch temp. Let's get branch. Now we have main and temp 2, and if you notice the green light is to temp 2, that because we are inside that branch. Now if we want to check out or like switch to main again, we can type get checkout the branch name, which is main. Now we are inside in the main again, and you can tell again if you look at the right of the directory. Now if we want to delete a remote branch, all right, and you have to be very careful when you delete remotely. All right, get push origin dash dash delete. Let's say that develop, we have a developer branch. Now press enter. So the develop ref doesn't exist, and this is because of I typed develop wrong. So we put develop. Now it is deleted. If you check the get branch dash r, now we have only main. And if you come to your repository in the remote, you can refresh it. Now we don't have it. Okay, this is because we deleted. Now go back. Now we have only main. All right. Now if we want to see the list of commits that we did in our local branch, we can type get log. Now we can see the list of the commits that we did them and push them. If you want to see the summary of it, type get log dash dash summary. Now you can see more details. Now clear your console again. Now let's switch to temp2 branch, get check out temp underscore 2. Now let's do a change in the file that we have it. All right, open it by, let's say, Notepad. Okay, now let's just copy this line of code. Let's copy it and paste it again, save it. Okay, close it. Now let's check the status, git status. Get add dot get commit m message add line of code, close the quote. Now let's switch again to get checkout main. If you want to see that we are in main, if you open the file again, you can tell that we don't have the line that we created, right? Because it's in temp branch. Now let's do merge and see what will happen. All right, now git merge the source branch, which is temp2, and target branch, which is main. Now you can see we added one file changed. Okay, we add the change that they were inside the source, which is temp2. And if you open the file again, okay, now it will show you when it is reload. Now we have it here, the change. All right, now this is the way how we merge between two branches. Okay, now let's push our change to our remote, refresh it. We have we open it, we have two lines of code, they are there. You can see the history of commits, like 2 minutes ago I did it, history. Now you see we have two commits here. Add new file, app.js, the first one, and add line of code, this is the second one. Okay, you can track your change. And last thing we can learn is to do pull requests. So if you create a branch, let's put it develop, create a branch from main. Now we have develop. If you go to local, get pull your change, clear. Now let's check out to develop. Now we are in develop. Let's do a minimum change or minor change. Add another line here, okay? Get add, get commit, add another line. Now get push. We have our changes here. All right, now open the file here. You can see the change. If we switch to main, we don't have that change. All right, now in order to make the change merging to main locally, we can create pull request. Now a new pull request, and the source will be, you can change to develop. Okay, the source will be developed and the destination is main. Now it's comparing. You can see in here in this panel all the commit, all the change that you have. We have only one difference, the third line that we add, create pull request. You can add description uh, to describe what did you do and what are you trying to add to main branch, create pull request. Usually in a workplace, it will be restricted to like one person to approve your code and to see your code and approve it. So you will not be able to merge it. So usually someone from the team is like the team leader or someone will be checking your pull request. If you can see that we have a pull request now here. All right, a pull request, you just press in here. You can see the details, and then you press on merge pull request, confirm merging, and your changes now are in main. Oops. You can open the file here and you can see the third line. Make sure you have the change in your local get checkout main. Now we are in main. In local we don't have it. Okay, so it is not there yet. If you get pull, now you can see we get pull the change, and if we open it, refresh it, it will come here. I think we are done learning Git and GitHub. I hope that you learned very useful commands and tools. And I think, in my opinion, if you learn all the commands that I gave you, you will be in very good condition to work with Git and GitHub in most cases or most work situations. I will paste the URL to very good documentation so you can learn more commands and expand your knowledge in Git and GitHub.